Welcome to the OnChain pod, where we explore the landscape of decentralized technologies and especially Cardano. In this podcast, we are exploring the emerging Web3 landscape of India and how we can leverage this emerging market to accelerate the growth of Cardano. So let me introduce to you the team behind OnChain pod. I'm Sooraj. I write about Cardano. I'm excited about the technology Cardano is building. And let me introduce to you the other two team members of OnChain pod.
Hey guys, this is Adnan from India. Currently, I'm working as a research and IO intern in a Web3 institutional fund. I have around 3 years of experience in the blockchain space. I started out as an investor in 2019, and now I'm more involved with the Cardano ecosystem because of the whole technology. And I worked with several startups in the space, and right now I've joined this pod as a team member to do my part in accelerating the growth of Cardano ecosystem in the Web3 landscape of India.
Hi, people. This is Ashish Prajapati, the founder of Striker, the company building Cardano Scan, Typhon Wallet, and Fleck Finance. We started our journey with Cardano ecosystem from late 2017, and since then we are doing our part, contributing to the Cardano ecosystem with tools and open source projects.
So thank you for the introduction, guys. So we are here to talk about Cardano and India. So India is the biggest democracy. It has a thriving big market, and now we have a really emerging Web3 market. But there is not a lot of growth for Cardano in India. So we want to talk about Cardano in India, and if we can talk about the general trend, like this democratization trend. So if we look at the political power, we see the democratization of political power through democracies. And if we look at this power over information, we can also see the democratization of power over information through internet. And now we are also watching this trend of democratization of financial infrastructure. But to get there, you need a trustless system, and that's what we have right now. So let's talk a bit about this trend and the situation in India and how we can leverage that. Maybe Adnan can give some insights about this particular trend or topic.
Yeah, so basically, if you see, not even in India, in the whole world, humans always find a way to democratize different sectors, whether it's the political spectrum, whether it's the financial institutions. Even in India, we have seen it. It's a trend worldwide. Even in India, we have seen it during the British era, actually, during the Indian independence movement. People have finally democratized the whole political situation, and it has helped India to emerge as a largest democracy in the world.
Exactly.
And now we are standing at the forefront of a new era where we are trying to introduce the same concept with the another factor of trustlessness in the financial sector with the introduction of Bitcoin in 2008 by Satoshi Nakamoto. So yeah, it's actually like a pattern, and now we are seeing it in the financial industry.
Yeah, exactly. You made the point.
Yep.
There's this general democratization trend, and India is a huge part of it. Like if you think about the democratization of political power, that is India is very successful in that. If you have 70 years of democracy and you can sustain it, plus you have the next stage also very much thriving in India, the Web2 part, the internet part. So like
Yep.
Ashish is a builder, so he can talk more about it actually. How what do you think about this Web2? Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, that's right actually, and with the groundbreaking innovations with the blockchain technology, starting with Bitcoin. Actually, the invention was was for peer-to-peer cash system. But as we have seen, and as the innovation is happening at a very rapid phase, we can see that it's not just to move money around, move value around, but you can build so much more using the blockchain technology and literally democratize, the financial industry itself. So, and with regards to India, India has like the huge population of Gen Z population, and out of that, India is like the largest, country with developer.
You made the point, and if you look at that, trend, in a sense that, um, like, there is always a tool required, or like a path required to, not required, it's a trend, and it happens through a particular path. So if you look at the democratization of political power, you eventually found a way, like a representative democracy, to distribute this power to a large number of people. And information was the same. Information was actually siloed in, and it was not accessible to a lot of people. Eventually, that information part got democratized through internet. So we need a path to that end, and it is not like we decide to take that path, and some technology emerges or some path emerges that takes us to that, particular uh, point. And the but democratization of political power and information is not itself enough to uh, to actually empower people, like fully empower people. You also need to democratize the financial power part too. And we how can we achieve that? And there was this groundbreaking technology that was invented by Satoshi, where you can use this trustless technology to transfer value between people. So that is the one technology that actually started this trend of, you can send value to one person to another without trusting or depending upon anyone, without any intermediaries. So how do you see that particular technology changing the, changing or like helping us to democratize the financial um, opportunities to more amount of people?
See, in India, if you see, there's a huge population who rely on loans for their daily requirements. I mean, they would need credit system is what I'm talking about. So, you need credit to do some sort of an activity to be successful in your daily life, and it's increasingly becoming difficult, but at the same time also easier to get access to credit. But it's through the mediators, it's through the trustful system. It's you have to have your credit score in a good position. And if you are not educated, if you don't keep bank accounts, if you don't do lots of interactions with all this financial market, then you definitely have a lower credit score, and it becomes increasingly difficult to get a loan, get a credit for your needs. And with the blockchain technology, it becomes easier to get yourself an identity even if you don't have bank accounts, and get
Yeah.
access to the credits. If you it's And also some part of it is via the collaterals also. Like, if people can use their digital assets as collaterals for getting access to credit, where it's very difficult if you see in the traditional finance industry. If you have any sort of physical asset like a property, it's just costly to get a credit.
You said it, like, the even if India is a democracy with a like internet access to everyone, like a majority of the population, like a 4G LTE access and very cheap, still we have this problem of, if you are a normal person and to get a loan, if you are a farmer, to get a loan, it's really difficult. So how
Yeah.
difficult is it actually?
I mean, it's difficult, as in, see, some part of it is because of the lack of education, because usually people come from a background who are not very technical, so they do have to go through this traditional ways to get access to the loan. But I mean, not to lie, but I mean, it's actually very good to get a credit for farmers specifically, because they are the owner of the farmland, and government is doing their best and best to give them access to credit. But we are talking about those people who has nothing with them,
Mhm.
but they want to have access to credit so they can grow. It's like you want to um, say you want to do a job, and then you want to do this course, but then to do the course, some sort of a learning, you don't have money for it. See, if
Mhm.
you could borrow some money and then finish your education and then you start earning, that's what people want to do, but that
Exactly.
becomes difficult.
Exactly.
And
So.
I think that's where the problem of the middleman arises.
Yeah,
Basically, in the whole financial sector, on one side, it is getting very easier to access to these services, but at the same time, uh, there is always a middleman who will check all sorts of things before passing you a loan. Whether and like in reality, it should be just, you have a collateral, okay, you can have a loan. That
that's
is it.
right.
And yeah, and I think that is the major revolutionizing factor which blockchain is bringing into the financial industry. Like it is really, in the true sense, it is democratizing the whole system
So
from
yeah.
top
That's
to
right. So
bottom.
if a general person has to, go for a loan, as Adnan said, they have to present, and many of the times what happens is, the loans are processed by the entity, not at the central level, but then the agents that are working at the lower levels, and usually the power lies with them. They can either reject your application based on, your looks, your gender, your caste, but I mean, I hope that should not happen, but I mean, that is a possibility, and we have seen some of those things happening based on your religion. So that's some of the drawbacks of the current systems. And so if you
So
have access to decentralized identities, then you just go and get a credit with your data, and then you don't have to worry about your identity as a whole.
So yeah, we are what we are trying to do now is like we are following this trend, connecting some dots, and making a, business case actually, because if you look at it, every one of this trend has a really strong business case behind it. So you can see, for example, like YouTube as a platform where you can actually get education. Like if you there are open courses and everything, and YouTube is a business. It has a like really strong business case, and through that business case is actually democratizing the power over information. So as you said, in the case of loans and these difficulties due to intermediaries, there is actually a business case to um, provide easier loans and to people who most probably will pay back the loans with an interest. So it's if you remove that intermediary, maybe a person can provide them the loan, and it makes a business case in the sense that the person who gets the loan uses it for like a productive purpose and pays back, and both profits from getting that loan. So it basically increases the efficiency and democratizing that financial opportunity for that person who is looking for a loan, and also enabling the person who provides the loan with a profit, with a yield. Let's say that, like that, So that is the case for blockchain. This trustless system is actually enabling this opportunity. And if you look at India, India has a like really thriving Web2 sector. In a sense, a lot of developers are there, a lot of startups are from India. And what about the like now we have the technology through blockchain. In a sense, it started with Bitcoin. It introduced this trustless technology, but somehow Bitcoin was not enough to enable this financial opportunities, right? Bitcoin was limited. So so if you know the story of colored coins, maybe Ashish can talk a bit about why color coins didn't work out, and then you needed Ethereum to enable these technologies, right?
Yeah, see, it's Bitcoin can do just one job. Very good is moving value across. Let's say not money, but value across. It's also not very feasible to do payments using Bitcoins because inherently it just becomes costlier to do transactions. So and then as I said, you also want to build applications on top of this decentralized ecosystem, so you need much more, and that's how the Ethereum was invented. So you could build smart contracts, which is basically a piece of code which is decentralized, and it gets validated by the decentralized network itself. So you can trust the code and do not trust the people. And then you can build those sort of applications like for instant loans and stuff like that that we have seen on Ethereum. um, but Ethereum also comes with its own drawbacks in terms of technology choices and the foundation as in the network foundation. So that's why we look at Cardano. Cardano has its own pros, because it's built with peer research, and it has it's built with EUTXO architecture, and it's scalable. And now with Plutus support, you can build smart contracts on Cardano, which are highly scalable. So Cardano is like, right now the go-to choice for building any sort of a decentralized application or the infrastructure that people can use. But it's a matter of, building those applications in a user-friendly way, because we also want people to, interact with those applications easily. It's, it shouldn't be like, one has to put lots of brain effort just to get, do some, just to get used to the application. Otherwise, the real use case is just is left behind.
Yeah, and talking about like trustlessness, which Bitcoin has really brought, uh, and it has challenged the whole financial industry in general. There is one more part to it, like centralized institutions right now uh, play a very critical role in the economy, and they are basically functioning because the public trusts those financial institutions. And over the course of history, we have seen various instances where the failure or crisis of a financial institution has led to a widespread economic disruption and financial hardship for many individuals and businesses, just because of that factor, because people have to trust in a human.
Yeah.
There is always an intermediary. And we have seen it repeatedly in 1990s, 2008. In India, we have seen it in 2013, 2018. And all these things, all these crises have one thing in common, because there was some mismanagement, and there was always a human factor which was hidden from the public, and public had to put a blind trust in those institutions to safeguard their financial stabilities. But we have seen like they have failed repeatedly.
Yeah.
And I think Bitcoin and blockchain will play a very critical role in solving this issue by bringing trustlessness into the financial ecosystem.
Yeah, I think you said it right. Every time when there's a human intermediary and lack of transparency, things can really go wrong. Because if you look at the 2008 financial crisis, like all these not central banks, all these investment banks were creating derivatives and creating derivatives out of derivatives, and somehow this whole system was so like literally fucked up in a sense that it and the whole system was so intransparent and like led to this huge crisis that like normal people suffered, you know, because eventually all these except one or two of the investment banks, their debt, or like they never went bankrupt, or the government helped them with providing the necessary support. But at the end of the day, people who took a loan and had to pay their mortgage, you know, so they still had to pay those that amount. And at the end of the day, like what we learn from is that at the end of the day, like a normal person, um, he's the one who suffers from that kind of mistakes,
Yeah.
not these intermediaries. So then we have a technology where you can literally remove those intermediaries and create a much more transparent system, but you still need a sophisticated system to create such a complex financial infrastructure, because Bitcoin could not enable anything else than just peer-to-peer transactions. That's it. That's the end of the tech. And it doesn't seem like it's evolving anytime soon too. Then we had Ethereum. Ethereum was an innovation of in a sense that it enabled the smart contracts, uh, enabled smart contracts, and thereby a lot of opportunities and like in a technological way. But the problem was that we still don't see any sophisticated uh, financial tool on top of Ethereum, or not. We are not seeing any um, institutional interest in building a sophisticated dApp. So there must be something lacking, and that's the case for Cardano. What we think the case is, because there are certain limitations due to design choices that Ethereum made. If you guys can give us some insights into those design choices, like why are we not seeing? So Ethereum is really big, but we are not seeing any sophisticated financial tool, or not a financial, like institutional effort in building a sophisticated dApp on Ethereum. Why is not the case?
See, if you see,
I think, yeah.
yeah, Adnan.
Yeah, you continue, Ashish, please.
Okay. See, if you see Ethereum, right? It uses the global state management for your smart contracts, and that itself, becomes a very limiting factor. And we have seen tons of cases where users doing interacting with smart contracts, but they basically they end up losing their gas fees just because the smart contract failed because of some or the other reason. And it just comes down to the how the architecture is, where if you see Cardano, it uses the EUTXO model, where you can actually verify your smart contracts statically. So what it means is, if I as a user, I have to let's say, for example, if I have to take a loan, I would be able to verify my transaction right in my device locally, and I would be able to make sure that, okay, I'll be getting this loan at this price, and this is going to be my fees. And from the time that I prepare the transaction and I submit the transaction, there's not going to be any changes, or any sort of deviations into that process. And this is scalable because it's there's no global state to take care of all sorts of technicalities. But let's say if there are a million users, all of those million users would be able to interact with the chain, irrespective of what happens by the actions of those users. So that's one of those points about Cardano.
So
And I
you
think mostly like
continue.
Ethereum, the success of Ethereum, if I may say, it's basically because it was like the first attempt to build something uh, which can include, you can build like tabs, financial products on the top of blockchain. Like it has a first mover advantage, if I can say. uh, and they generally had this approach of break things along and figure it out on the way. And I think it has really limited the whole development of the ecosystem, the Ethereum ecosystem. That's why we don't really see any sophisticated financial tool on the top of the Ethereum blockchain.
I think you guys said it. So basically, what Ashish was talking about was this deterministic part, where you know exactly how much it would cost, like before submitting your transaction, and there are no um, extra costs, in a sense that you know exactly what is it going to cost me to submit this transaction and to execute this transaction, and your transaction will go through that. You are not because there is no, the state is local in Cardano chain. It does not has this global state where even gives rise to this situation called like shared mutable state, where if two parties try to interact with the same thing at the same time, then one party's action can actually influence the other party's action. So in that sense, it's very often that you get a failed transaction on Ethereum and you still pay the transaction fees. And
That's
as
right.
a user, exactly. So if as a user, if you use like imagine like a regular Indian using layer 1 Ethereum and executing a transaction, and the transaction get cancelled and you pay the fees, and the fees is a pretty high fees for a regular Indian. It
Yeah.
it could range from like a daily like it could be more than your daily expense as a regular Indian for a failed
Yeah,
transaction.
definitely. I mean,
Yeah,
right
definitely.
now the fees on Ethereum is like, it's a one-time meal for many people. Not just India, but I would say many countries around the world, right? And so
Exactly.
that's not feasible. And we are just talking technically, in terms of how the transactions gets processed on ETH versus Cardano. But if we also need to see outside of the technical picture, because the normal users, right? um, See, it's for them, it's they come and utilize this one service, and they should technically not be worrying about what would happen to this transaction, and how to check the status of the transaction, how much I ended up spending on this transaction. Why should they even care about a word called transaction? For them, it should be accessing a service, and it should be as seamless as possible. So, but the inherent technology makes it difficult, right, on ETH, to make it possible. But if you make such user friendly applications on Cardano, the inherent technology itself makes it secure for end users to access those services. You are at least very much sure that any fault in the smart contracts, or the developer of the contract, you won't end up losing your money. That's what I mean. Of course, obviously there'll be vulnerabilities uh, induced by developers, but at some level, uh, this is efficient to interact.
Yeah, and I think the whole meaning of the this word mass adoption
Hmm.
is like the user shouldn't have to care what's happening in the backend at all,
Yeah.
Exactly.
whether it's a transaction or whether it's like all the technical stuff. It should be see as seamless as possible. He should just onboard onto the app, use the service, and that is it. He doesn't need to worry about
Exactly.
its funds, about the transaction fees, interacting with the smart contracts. Like if we don't solve that part, then the mass adoption thing, it's very difficult. How will you explain those concepts to an average citizen? Like he will just go crazy. Like, what is this? I don't want to use. Like
Definitely.
if we, yeah, right.
See,
So,
there's a
I sorry for interruption. I remember this quote like any sufficiently evolved technology is indifferentiable from, you cannot differentiate it from magic, right? I mean, that is this famous quote
Hmm.
about this like technologies
yeah,
that
Absolutely.
really, yeah, and
along
it
the
is
same
yet to
lines.
happen for blockchain. Yeah.
Yeah, along the same lines. So let's say this is another story in India right now, right? So you know we have this a payment system called UPI, which allows people to do payments using mobile phone and just a 4-digit PIN number. um, and the beauty of this infrastructure is that you can even do the payments worth 1 rupee, which is like like a cent. um, so But the beauty is you go and purchase something at a store, and then you make a payment, and a tea stall, right? That person is not educated enough to go and check the balance of his bank account. But where technology can jump in and make it easy for even for the people to utilize this payment system, what happens is when they receive a payment, right, they have a microphone, sorry, a speaker, and when they receive a payment, right, it speaks out in his local language that 1 rupee received in your account. Isn't that magic? that's
Yeah,
that's
that is
technology.
magic.
And
Exactly.
you will literally find this in every small street of India.
Yes.
This is like truly mass adoption. It's a very huge feat by the Indian government in the recent years. This is how we should build our dApps, our financial tools on the top of blockchain if we really want to target mass markets.
So what uh, like through our discussion, this is what I understood. So we had this initial technology demonstration with Bitcoin, like having this trustless system, and then Ethereum coming in and showcasing the opportunity for smart contracts and more like a sandbox environment where you can try out system. But it was not created for like a really secure, scalable systems. And then now that's the case for Cardano. It is a really scalable, secure system with a really uh, strong fundamentals based on peer-reviewed research and really strong research and development. And then this technology uh, coming into a a market like India. So as you guys said, the trustless technology started with Bitcoin. It enabled this first peer-to-peer transaction without any intermediaries, like first time in the history of mankind. And then Ethereum innovated on top of it by enabling smart contracts and enabling all this execution of this complex logic on top of a trustless system. But this system was uh, not primed for mass adoption in the sense that it is expensive, it's not scalable, and it is not secure uh, to build a complex financial infrastructure on top of it. And now we have Cardano with its innovative EUTXO model and also um, functional programming environment, which is safe, secure, and it's also scalable. But what we see is that Cardano has a big community all over the world. It's pretty active. Like the development is picking up and new dApps are going live pretty fast. But we see that Cardano is not that big in India, not that even not that big. Cardano is pretty much not at all active in India. There is not a big community. Not of There's development going on, especially in case of Flag Finance and Ashish. What you build is amazing, but other than that, we don't see that much of development in India when it has a thriving Web3 sector. Especially, you see the growth of Polygon and Ethereum development in India. So let's talk a bit about India, and let's talk about the case for India in the context of Cardano.
Yep. See, what you said is actually very right. Um, India is a thriving Ethereum community. One of the reasons for that is because India has a huge developer base, and Web3 developers are not coming out of college right away. The existing developers, Web2 developers, are the ones who explore the Web3 technologies, and then they start developing with this new tech. And Ethereum was like the first mover advantage, so naturally developers started picking up Ethereum, and Ethereum also did a great job organizing events in India and onboarding users. But also I would like to just say, like, as you said, Cardano has a very innovative technical foundation, but that's innovative today, and you really want to be innovative. You want to stay innovative for the future also, and one of the ways to do that is to have a very strong developer community, right? So, and also you want to onboard users, but one of those ways to onboard the users is by onboarding the developers. If you onboard the developers are the one that they bring in their own, community to the blockchain. A developer has, many friends, many friends and families. They talk to people. So if you just onboard one developer, passionately, he's going to, talk about what he's working on to many more people, many more developers. So developers are like, one of those very basic and first uh, user base that, any chain should onboard to really grow the ecosystem, in which Cardano is not at all focusing right now.
And I think to understand the whole landscape in India, why Web3 has emerged as like a very huge thing in recent years, we have to take a look back in history of what really happened in India in the past decade. First of all, the major factor is a lot of Indians are suddenly online because of cheap internet
Mhm.
and cheap availability of smartphones. So this infrastructure has really helped. Like a lot of urban areas also are coming online and they're exploring the internet. So that drive the major factor in the recent fintech boom in India. Right now there are a lot of financial digital financial services that people utilize on a daily basis. Like Ashish mentioned about UPI payments, so it is a part of that. This has created a ground for Web3 to emerge, because people have cheap internet. A lot of Indians are suddenly online. They have access to smartphones. So now what has happened is like, and 2018, before 2018, around that time, the Indian government had a very anti-crypto instance, and the Central Bank of India, which is Reserve Bank of India, RBI, has had issued a circular in 2018 that they are banning all forms of digital and cryptocurrencies. Then there was a court battle. The stakeholders have filed a case in the Supreme Court of India, where they finally Supreme Court removed the ban because the argument was made that it is a fundamental right to trade any asset class, and the crypto was defined as an asset class in that judgment. Then we have seen a boom of various exchanges first. Like WazirX was one of the first one, which you know emerged as one of the largest exchange until now, and the trading volumes just spiked like crazy. And from there, we started seeing a lot more, developer activity in India. A lot of ecosystems started coming in India on the ground, started interacting with the communities of students from computer science backgrounds, started hosting roadshows, events in tier one cities of India. So like if you really want to expand your because right now what's happening is there are a lot of blockchains, and one more thing about Cardano is that there is a lot of misinformation.
Yeah.
The development on Cardano is pretty tough. You can't even develop anything on Cardano. It's the general sense it's a graveyard of PhD holders, like all sorts of bullshit things. So to solve that, what is the right approach is you come on the ground, now organize events, bring awareness to the people, especially the Gen Z community. The developer community is mostly comprising of the young students who are in college or who are just graduated from the college. So you want to incentivize them in some manner, either through bringing awareness for Project Catalyst among those communities. Like, okay, you can build anything, and if you're building great things, the community will eventually fund you. So these sorts of things that we will have to focus on if we really want to uh, grow the Cardano ecosystem in India.
So you guys said it, like, we need developer onboardment, we need awareness first about the possibilities of Cardano and how you can build on Cardano, and this is the gateway to access this market. Because it would be like, we had this discussion a couple of weeks back in Twitter, like why we don't see any Cardano activity in India, especially the market is so big. And so it somehow bothered us a lot, in a sense that why it's not happening, because especially it's such a big market, such big opportunities, and now especially when Cardano is becoming very developer friendly, we need to get the message out, we need to get the word out and onboard these developers. And uh, first of all, we need this awareness about Cardano. Cardano is not a graveyard for PhDs, but it is a green field for developers if they want to build some like really good app. And you have a population in India which is pretty much uh, available for them, in a sense, in the sense that they have access to cheap, fast internet. They use smartphones. They are tech savvy. So you have this really good opportunity for India. So maybe you can tell us some numbers about where we are at, about the Indian market. You can show like really raw numbers and show the opportunity at hand here.
Yeah, definitely. Let me share my screen and we can go through the numbers one by one. So yeah, this is what I was talking about. The internet penetration, really. So like you can see, like almost a billion active internet users. Like the projection says, India will have at least a billion active internet users by 2025. So that is really huge.
Yeah.
That is like 80 to 90% of the whole uh, population coming online. So there is a lot of room to grow in this emerging space. Now, I have several reports from different sources that suggest why India is really, a huge opportunity to leverage on. This is a report by Chain Analysis. They have released this report in September of 2022. It's a global crypto adoption index. It shows what is the level of adoption worldwide by country. So you can see India is staged at number 4 right
Mm-hmm.
now. They have evaluated various factors like how much is the value received on centralized exchanges, decentralized exchanges, peer-to-peer transactions, and on-chain value. So it's a cumulative rank for all these factors. And if you really look into the whole Web3 startup ecosystem, this is a report by NASCOM and Hashed Emergent in India. So this is basically the whole snapshot of the whole startup ecosystem in 2022. Until now, India have like 450 plus Web3
Mm-hmm.
startups, uh, and 160 plus of them were founded in the year 2021 to 2022, which is like last year
Wow.
only. And there is a 57% CAGR cumulative growth rate of Indian Web3 startups from 2015 to 2021. We have like 4 Web3 unicorns uh, and 75,000 plus developers or tech talent is based in India.
Wow.
It's like 11% of the whole worldwide population of Web3 developers is based in India, which is currently number 3.
Yeah.
And there are 70 plus active institutional investors in 20 from 2021, and the total investment that was raised by Indian startups in the last 2 years was more than 1.3 billion dollars. I think the global number is around between 10 to 15 billion dollars. So it is a huge chunk in the whole global investment.
Uh, that is some really amazing statistics that what you showed there, and that itself shows how much all these Web3 focused because like VCs, blockchains are pivoting towards India, and this growth is just for the past 2 years.
Yep.
That is the another amazing part, right?
And you can like I work in an institutional fund. I uh, usually interact with a lot of ecosystem partners and a lot of exchanges also. If you talk with them, they are also planning like big global
Hmm.
exchanges and other ecosystem like layer ones, layer two. They are actually formulating their plans on how to penetrate the market in India and how to capture their own share.
Okay.
So there are like proper programs which are being formulated because no one is wants to ignore like a huge chunk or a huge part of the whole Web3 landscape, and everyone wants to utilize. And that is why I think Cardano and the community, us, we should strongly uh, do stuff in our capacity to help the adoption in the Indian market.
Exactly. Like most of the blockchain projects, most of the VC backed blockchain projects, especially like Polygon and stuff like that, they are like really pivoting. They have such an aggressive business development and marketing uh, departments or like teams. They are doing everything possible to extract the opportunities or like use the leverage opportunities to the maximum. So in that scenario, like seeing none of such activity or interest from Cardano side, or like Cardano is a decentralized system. You have like three entities like Emurgo, uh, IOG, and CF. Um, like Emurgo is really active in India as far as education about blockchains are concerned, but we don't see much push from CF or IOG regard like to accelerate the growth of Cardano in India, and that's very much required at this time, especially when we are seeing these amazing numbers in the market. That is, it's a green field. That's what I say, and especially with the tech what Cardano
Yeah,
has,
exactly.
uh, like we should go for it.
So let's dive deep more about the development side of
Mhm.
things. How is the whole development landscape in India is looking like? So this is a report by GitHub, October's. It shows that India is emerging to be one of the top developer ecosystems on GitHub, and it projects that it will match the current United States GitHub developer population by 2025,
Wow.
according to this rate. And this is another report by Electric Capital. It is focused mostly on Web3 development. And you can see that US Web3 development growth is slowing
Mhm.
down, and the market share of USA has been capturing by the Indian and Russian markets. So like the data is showing us like it's really happening in front of our eyes. And if we are able to like capture a good amount of market share, because I think what really has happened with other ecosystem is uh, 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 platforms like Alchemy and Morales on the Ethereum and Polygon side has really helped in spreading the mass
Mhm.
adoption in terms of the
Yeah.
development, because those languages are day to day used languages among the Indian developer community. JavaScript,
Mhm.
TypeScript, front end frameworks, how we can easily interact the blockchain technologies with it. I think in Cardano also we have started seeing the emergence of different libraries like Mesh, Demeter Run is
Yeah.
there. So I think we should start promoting it into the Indian developer ecosystem if we really want to capture a good amount of market.
I think here Ashish can jump in and give us. So Ashish is like you are building on Cardano. You are the developer on ground. You then you are the one who can give us so much insight to the developer activity in Web3 startups in India, and what is opportunity for Cardano there.
Yep. So as Adnan said, there's a lot of developer activity on Ethereum. Um, especially because of the user-friendly libraries and technical tools available to build on Ethereum. And having as said, India has a huge developer base, and they can easily start building on Cardano, given right tools and libraries at the disposal. So, but it's also this growth is organic, and I do believe that the entities building Cardano right now, they won't be able to spend so much of energy building the developer ecosystem around. At the same time, we are building the Cardano software itself. But these are one of those things, right? If you onboard more and more users, more and more developers, specifically those developers are the ones that bring the innovation of building those open source libraries and tools that help other developers to build on top of Cardano, make it easy for developers to build on Cardano. The innovation comes through developers, and we have seen this. We are already witnessing this on Cardano. Like, there's uh, there are people making it easier to write Pluto smart contracts using TypeScript. That innovation is coming from whom? None other than the developer community of Cardano. Now imagine
Yes.
having more and more developers onboarded on the Cardano ecosystem. People bring the innovation with them. When the developers and especially it's so good to see that developers have seen what they want uh, to be able to build, is because they are already experienced uh, in terms of building on other chains. Now when they come to Cardano,
Yep.
they would just realize, okay, we are missing this, and I think I can build this out. And that's what we need. So if we just onboard more and more developers, I think we'll see more and more innovations in terms of tools, libraries available for developers, and that is what will help onboard more and more developers uh, on Cardano.
And the main reason behind this is like the developer population is mainly transitioning from web 2 to web 3, and the web 2 technologies, they generally revolve around popular languages, JavaScript, Python
JavaScript.
and all. They don't really know about Haskell, they don't really care to learn about Haskell, Plutus and all that.
That's right.
If we really find a way, yeah, if we really find a way to develop tools which are popular in the web 2 ecosystem, then the transition is way much more easier
Exactly, and
from
those
the web
were
2 to web
those
3.
were one
Yeah.
of one of the things that actually made us do lots of work towards the JavaScript libraries for Cardano, because from the beginning, we are building Typhon wallet and Cardano scan, and then we always find this lake of tools in JavaScript. So we ended up building you know from scratch fully JavaScript based wallet libraries for Cardano. It's called Typhon.js, and people are using it. Ledger Live is using it now. Cardano Foundation is using it for their own open source projects. So that is what is happening. And JavaScript is, as Adnan said, it's like it's like one of the go-to languages for developers. If you see Ethereum, right, there, so it's a full library stake available in pure JavaScript. What it allows for developers is to open it up, look inside, and see how things are done from the core, and that would allow for them to do more and more upgrades as well.
Yep. These are, I mean, so in that sense, especially when Cardano after Vasil had fork, you can actually deploy like amazing dApps on top of it. And now you also have these tools developing like Mesh, Demeter Run, um, Plutus, and along with that, Gimbal Labs is working with them to, as far as like documentation, education is concerned. And then you have a decentralized treasury that funds these kind of developments like Catalyst. If you can use these tools and bring awareness about these tools to the developer community of India, you actually can have a lot of growth from the developer community of India. So they are pivoting from Web 2 to Web 3. They are familiar with all these easier languages like JavaScript. So in that sense, it is a perfect opportunity for Cardano in 2023. So as a developer, like what can we do to spread this word among the developer community of India about Cardano?
There are several ways of how we can approach this. Of other blockchains, how they approach is basically they partner with various colleges in India. They organize these events. So there's an introduction event where they will introduce about the technology, the opportunity, which is really important for the developers. No one will just dive deep just for the technology. There should be an opportunity for them to grow as well. And I think we have a pretty huge thing, which is Project
Mhm.
Catalyst, uh, which is like a crazy opportunity for any developer to develop tools and apps on the Cardano ecosystem. Now, then there are like various hackathons, which like if you see Solana Hacker House, it was pretty big in India. Polygon Connect was pretty big. There is a whole website of like called Devfolio. It have like a directory of hackathons happening each month, and enormous amounts of hackathons that are happening in like tier one cities of India, and anyone can participate and just get grants or get funding to develop on the top of that particular blockchain. So I think if we plan these stuff, even like just as community members through Project Catalyst, or allocate some sort of funding to these type of things, then I think we can really pull it off.
Yeah. And
That's right.
Ashish, if you
Also,
can you elaborate? Yeah.
yeah, I was going to say a bit about when someone is looking at the the regulations, and when they look at the India, it's, I would say it's not very good to you know say like India is very negative towards cryptocurrency as a whole. Um, if you think that way, it's fine. But even in that scenario, why do you want to ignore the developer community? Because India has never gone against building on any sort of a technology. They have never banned blockchain as a technology. They are appreciating, even the government has native courses. Government offered courses on blockchain technology, which actually teach you Bitcoin and Ethereum. That is being done by the government itself. Now, what more do you need than that, to be able to come down and start investing and building a developer community in India? With regards to
I
regulations,
mean,
even the regulations are not bad
yeah.
regulations. I mean, yeah, Adnan.
Yeah, I was just adding to this point only. Like, the if you see from the outside, the general perception is like the government of India is like very crypto negative because of the events that has happened in the past. They are for sure concerned with the whole topic of cryptocurrencies, but they have made it very clear on several instances they are not against blockchain technology. In fact, they are like as Ashish said, they are doing various courses. They are even using blockchain technology in various sectors, in land records and educational records. They don't really pose any sort of restriction of you can anyone can come and do events and onboard developers and all. There is nothing like that
Exactly.
at the ground level. So like people generally think like the ground reality is very different, but if you ask people who are experiencing it on like ground zero, they will tell you the picture is like different. It's very different actually.
Yep, exactly. Even when the RBI had a blanket ban on crypto, that didn't stop Web3 developers from building.
Yeah.
They didn't say that, boss, you cannot code to build smart contracts. You don't do that. That didn't happen, right? And also on top of that, actually the Indian developer community came up with genius solutions to even do trades, like P2P. P2P was an innovation from India because of this RBI ban, where people could trade cryptocurrencies one to another. um, completely anonymously, you can say, without using any third party, and you could even transfer fiat currencies. So that is the sort of the developer community in India we are building. And it doesn't matter if the government tomorrow comes and says cryptocurrency is banned, but that doesn't stop developers from building. That doesn't stop developers from working in jobs in Web3.
Yeah.
And just one more point, and I don't think so the banning part will happen again,
Nope.
because now we have an official bill related to the topic of cryptocurrencies, which has passed by the parliament. And the passing of the bill only suggests that the government is recognizing the existence of the cryptocurrencies and their legitimacy.
Yep.
And in fact they have proposed a whole tax scheme for the whole cryptocurrency thing. Like there's a 30% tax on profits, and there is 1% ADS on all the transactions, which I think is ridiculous, but it's a good step
Exactly.
in, at least legitimizing the whole scene.
Yes.
And like Indians always find a way around, like literally, even to avoid these taxes, many Indians are just registering their companies abroad and doing their business from there, but their target market is still India. So like it doesn't matter.
Exactly what you guys said. There's this native word that somehow reflect innovation, like a jugaad, in the sense that
Yeah.
Indians will somehow find a way around to do things. If there's an opportunity, you will definitely make it possible in India. And this blanket people like picture India like, oh, it is so crypto unfriendly. It is when it comes to regulations and the government's enmity towards crypto. It is not true. It was the situation like in 2018, but things have changed so much now. Their regulation is slowly coming in, legitimization of crypto as assets. It is the truth on ground now. There is a very high developer activity um, when it comes to Web3 startups. And the one thing that Cardano is missing is get the word out, push the opportunities, like push the word about opportunities about Cardano, onboard the developers, help them build, and and make it a thriving ecosystem. That is what we need to do right now. So we and along with that we have this opportunity of with a decentralized treasury through Project Catalyst. So you don't need to approach a particular VC or anyone. You can actually submit a proposal every 3 months, or every 3 months you have this opportunity. You can submit a proposal, you can talk about your proposals, and then you can get funded through that decentralized treasury. I mean, these opportunities does not exist anywhere in any other blockchain. And for the developers, they have also a green field, in the sense that if they develop something, they really have the opportunity to be successful. It is not like Ethereum, where you develop something and somebody copies it, and like another, like 10 other people will copy it within the next 5 days and make their own dapps. It is not situation on Cardano. So yeah, that's amazing opportunity. And so so what should be the next step from the side of Cardano? We have like three entities, like IOG, CF, and Emurgo. What would you think the ideal next step is to approach this market, to onboard these developers?
I think there has been some attempts to, penetrate the Indian market through Project Catalyst. One was like Grow India, Grow Cardano Challenge, I remember.
Yeah.
But the issue is we really don't know I'm talking about the general community, the things like on the ground level, what are the things and what are the effective things. Some proposals were just to translate the whole documentation in native languages.
Yeah.
It's not needed. India is the largest English speaking country.
Yes.
Almost every developer understands English. Like, why are we wasting funds in like those areas? Like, it doesn't make sense.
Yep.
We can use those funds in a various effective manners, like go organize events, talk with real people on the ground.
Exactly. That's
Like
what that's what
that is
needed.
what helps. Yeah,
Yeah. The
yeah,
catalyst was a
that's what
yeah,
needed.
that's catalyst proposal was a complete failure, I would say, is because actually, it's not an issue of the catalyst, but because the Indian community itself was very less in numbers, that the category didn't get good proposals. So wouldn't completely blame them also. But as Adnan
Yeah.
said, it's the right approach right now would be to at least onboard more and more developers first, and then the catalyst category specifically targeted for Indian market would be much more beneficial.
Okay, great. And if you think about onboarding already people who are already developing on Polygon or Ethereum or Solana to Cardano, what would you like to tell them? For example, if you get to approach a developer who's developing in one of these blockchains, uh, what would you tell them? Like, if yeah,
And sometimes some for some developers, a specific blockchain network that they develop on is like a religion. Right?
yeah,
It's like asking them to change their religion, right? So so I mean, not everybody, I'm just talking about some percentage. So but I would say, instead of talking about converting them, I would say hosting regular meetups, organizing events, that we can invite them, and
okay,
let them come and explore what Cardano has
okay,
to offer, and let them explore on their own pace, I would say,
okay,
instead of forcing, do this or do that and you get these benefits, instead of showing like straight away some quick benefits, is a very short term goal. But if the developers come and explore this ecosystem and they find it pretty good, that's what will drive. uh,
okay,
yeah, that's my
great,
opinion.
Like if you in the early days, Charles whiteboard video was very popular.
Yeah,
It's still very popular. It's a go-to introduction to anyone
yeah,
in the Cardano ecosystem. Like even if you can just organize events like introductory events of why Cardano is different, why the approach is different, and why it is going to solve the current issues in the blockchain industry. That itself is a very strong point for the developers, because like if you can imagine, like if you can make them imagine these are the problems right now and these will cause issues in the future, so why not stick with the technology which is already solving them,
exactly,
and it is the future.
exactly. So that is also our intention with this podcast, like to get the word out,
Yeah.
to bring on the people from IOG, CF, and other developers building on Cardano who build tools which can easily onboard these developers and get the word out to the developers. So that's what our intention is with this podcast. And I think this first episode was um an attempt to get the word out and start the talk about Cardano in India. And we intend to uh, like convert this energy towards like moving towards like organizing events, organizing hackathons and events like that to get the word out. That's the whole purpose of this effort. Yeah. So